Nobody expected the Chicago Bears to flip the NFC upside down like this. But here we are. 9-3, leading the conference, leading the North, and leaving the rest of the league stunned. And the crazy part? Most people still don't understand why this team feels different, why this team suddenly looks dangerous. So today, we're cutting through the noise and getting to the truth behind this rise. But before we dive deep into the chaos of the NFC, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and tap the bell icon so you never miss the biggest stories in football. Your support keeps videos like this rolling. Let's get into it. Ben Johnson isn't just winning games, he's rebuilding the entire identity of this franchise. He walked into Chicago and flipped the mentality overnight. You can see it in the way they block, the way they tackle, the way they chase down every snap like it's the last play of their season. There's a new heartbeat inside this locker room, and Johnson is the one setting the rhythm. After the Bears punched the Eagles in the mouth last week, he didn't celebrate, didn't boast, didn't get comfortable. He simply said, "There are no secrets. There are no shortcuts. We work, we get better, and we haven't even reached our full potential yet." That right there tells you everything about where this team is headed. Not satisfied at 9-3. Not impressed with themselves. Not buying into their own hype. They're chasing something bigger, a complete, 60-minute, three-phase brand of football that almost no team in the NFC is playing right now. And that is exactly why this conference just became a battlefield. Stay with me, the next part of this story is where things get even more interesting. These Chicago Bears aren't just winning, they're evolving right in front of our eyes. Every single week, they sharpen up, tighten the screws, and prove that what's happening in Chicago is no fluke. You don't climb to the top of the NFC by accident, not in a conference stacked with the Rams, the Eagles, the Seahawks, and every team clawing for postseason oxygen. But here's the part people still haven't wrapped their heads around. This is the first time since 2006 that the Bears sit above the entire NFC. Not just the North. Not just a hot streak. The entire conference. 19 long years, and Ben Johnson is the coach who finally shattered that drought. Those early 2010s teams with Cutler and Ehrlicher? The 2018 squad that felt like the beginning of something big? None of them managed to take the NFC throne. But Johnson walked in and rewrote the expectations from day one. 9 wins in 10 games. A 9-3 record that nobody outside Chicago was prepared for. And a message to the rest of the league that echoes louder every week: the Bears aren't rebuilding. They're arriving. And here's something even deeper, something almost nobody is talking about. No coach in Bears history has ever taken control of both the NFC North and the entire NFC standings in their very first season, until now. Ben Johnson didn't just join the race, he grabbed the wheel and changed the course. Stay with me, because the next part of this story reveals why this surge might only be the beginning. Think about how rare this is. Most new head coaches walk into a mess, spend a year or two tearing things down, patching holes, begging for patience. But Ben Johnson didn't walk into a rebuild, he walked in and elevated everything overnight. Even the great ones in Chicago needed time. Lovie Smith had early growing pains. Mike Ditka took his lumps before the wins came. Matt Nagy stepped into a roster that was already closer to competing. But none of them, not one, reshaped the identity of the franchise this quickly. And here's where the story jumps from impressive to downright historic. The Bears sitting at the top of the NFC under a rookie head coach? That hasn't happened since 1989. 36 years. More than 3 decades without a newcomer steering a team to the top of an entire conference. Sean McVay didn't do it. Kyle Shanahan didn't do it. None of the modern offensive masterminds pulled it off in year one. But Ben Johnson has the Bears in the driver's seat, controlling their own destiny as the NFC tightens into a late-season storm. Even more shocking? This offense, for years one of Chicago's biggest weaknesses, has quietly turned into one of the most balanced attacks in the league. Top 10 in 3 out of 4 major categories. Number 1 in rushing. 6th in total yards. 8th in scoring. Passing still sits in the middle of the pack, but even that looks sharper every week. This isn't a lucky stretch. It's the early blueprint of something bigger, something building faster than anyone expected. Stay with me, because the next part uncovers why this transformation might change the entire future of the NFC. What Ben Johnson is doing right now shouldn't even be possible for a first-year head coach. No rookie coach has pushed an offense into this many top 10 categories since Sean McVay's breakout season back in 2017. And here we are again, the Rams at 9-3, but Chicago holding the edge, sitting in the NFC's number 1 spot with a rookie head coach at the wheel. If that doesn't blow your mind, it should. This is exactly why Johnson was brought to Chicago, to rebuild the offense, to steady Caleb Williams, and to ignite the side of the ball that has held this franchise back for years. And it's working, because both of them have completely bought into each other. Johnson believes in Caleb. Caleb believes in Johnson. And the results, well, they're written in the standings for everyone to see. But it's not just the quarterback. Veterans, players who came from locker rooms that understand winning, are echoing the same message. This coaching staff feels different. This culture feels different. This belief feels real. Caleb said it after the win over Philadelphia, when every phase of the team trusts each other, offense, defense, and special teams, that belief spreads like wildfire. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Ben Johnson walked in and lit the spark. The numbers back it up. Caleb Williams isn't just more comfortable, he's noticeably sharper than last year. A consistent voice in his ear. A playbook that finally matches his talent. Protection that gives him time to operate. A run game that punishes defenses for overplaying his arm. Everything is clicking because everyone is committed to the same vision. This is the chemistry Chicago has been searching for, and Ben Johnson is the one who managed to create it. Stay with me, the next part reveals just how far this momentum could take them. Caleb Williams' growth over his first 12 games is the clearest signal yet that this new era in Chicago isn't a fluke, it's a foundation. Last year, with rotating play callers and a playbook that changed almost weekly, his numbers were scattered and inconsistent. This year? One system. One vision. One voice in his ear. And the difference jumps off the page. His completion percentage is slightly higher, but what truly matters is how he's completing passes. No empty screens, no desperate checkdowns, just smarter decisions and cleaner execution. He's thrown for more yards, more touchdowns, protected the ball with the same number of interceptions, and become a better runner with more yards per carry and 3 additional rushing scores. And yes, he even added a receiving touchdown, making it 21 total on the season. This is what stability does for a young quarterback. This is what happens when a player finally gets the structure he was supposed to have from the beginning. But the buy-in hasn't come from Caleb alone, the entire locker room has rallied behind Ben Johnson. And when veterans speak, you listen. Kevin Byard, a captain who has lived inside real winning cultures with Tennessee and Philadelphia, didn't hold back after the Eagles game. He said Johnson has been awesome, that he transformed the environment from spring to now, and that what the Bears are building feels like a winning process. That's coming from someone who has seen the best and knows exactly what it looks like. He went further, praising the culture, the energy, and the belief Johnson has injected into the team. Former players praise him from afar. Current players follow his direction with conviction. And the national spotlight has finally turned to Chicago, acknowledging what fans here have felt for months: the Bears found the right man. What makes all of this even more powerful is where the franchise just came from. 3 straight difficult seasons that tested patience, belief, and loyalty. But those years built toughness in players, in the organization, and in the fan base itself. Now, with a young roster and a unified vision, everything is pointing upward. Chicago finally has a leader the entire city can rally around, someone building more than a season, someone building a future.